Chapter 3, Axioms of Reality. You are now invited to acquaint yourselves with the axioms of reality. An axiom is a self-evident and necessary truth, a proposition based on reason, which it is necessary to take for granted in subsequent thought, or a proposition which is so evident that when presented to the reasoning mind it requires no further demonstration but commends itself at once to the acceptance of everyone capable of thinking. The science of logic, like that of higher mathematics, is based upon axioms. An axiom, being based upon the general and invariable report of reason of the race, is not subjected to the demand for repeated proof upon each occasion of its frequent employment as a basis for demonstration and argument. To dispute the evidence of the axioms of rational thought is akin to disputing the validity of human thought itself. In the latter case, however, even the validity of the disputation would be attacked at the same time that the axiom was attacked, for the disputation itself is a manifestation of human thought. The axioms hold ever, unless we deny the validity of reason. In the axioms of reality herein given will be found the fundamental and elementary reports of the reason regarding the ultimate principle of reality, which we have stated as the subject of our inquiry. These axioms should be carefully studied, considered, and committed to memory. They will be found to furnish an infallible touchstone with which to test the soundness of any philosophical or metaphysical doctrine, dogma, or teaching. They are the report of the highest philosophical thought of the ages directed to the subject. They represent the essence of the thought of the illumined of the race upon the subject of reality. With the axioms of reality the student has at hand the master key with which to open the many doors of the temple of knowledge. Rightly used they will disclose the truth of truths. We beg of the student to tarry a while with the axioms, to dwell with them a while before passing on. The mind that is saturated with the truth embodied in the axioms cannot go far astray on the path of philosophical knowledge. They will serve as a constant series of infallible guideposts, pointing ever to the truth. Do not pass them by as dull, dry, tedious, or technical, for in them you will find all the interest that is imaginable. In their few words is to be found the essence of all philosophy and metaphysics. Make them your own, treat them well, and in the hour of mental stress and trial they will be found by your side, whispering the word of truth in your ear, clearing away all doubts, and brushing aside all conflicting and contradictory arguments. Hold fast to the axioms. This is our first and last advice to the student. Hold fast to the axioms. Axiom of actual existence. First axiom of reality. Reality is existent in truth, in verity, and in fact as the essence, nature, substance, and principle of all that is. This axiom announces the actual existence of reality, not the imaginary existence, but the real, veritable, truthful, and in fact existence, not the temporary or temporal shadow of existence, but the fixed, unalterable, eternal existence, which alone constitutes real existence, not the existence of the fleeting form, but the existence of the eternal essence. This actual existence is the reality of philosophy. Only that which exists and remains unchanged, invariable, and permanent may be said to be reality in the strict philosophical sense of the term. On every side, and in everything, we perceive the manifestation of constant change of form, shape, and activity, everlasting and ever-manifest transmutation of substance from one phase to another, impermanence in everything, nothing stable, nothing constant, nothing persisting, everything in constant motion, everything in a state of flux, everything flowing on like a river, never the same for 2 consecutive moments, everything the ever-changing particles of a huge cosmic flame, nothing permanently being, everything constantly becoming or passing from one state to another, action and reaction, cycles and rhythms, the beginningless and endless sequence of events, the constant operation of cause and effect, the law of change, ever modifying and altering the shape, form, activity, state, and condition of everything, even from the very moment of its creation or birth. Being's ceaseless tide. We are constantly aware of the chameleon-like nature and character of what Gautama the Buddha called being's ceaseless tide, which, ever-changing, runs, linked like a river by ripples following ripples, fast or slow, the same, yet not the same, from far-off fountain to where its waters flow into the seas. These, steaming to the sun, give the lost wavelets back in cloudy fleece to trickle down the hills and glide again, having no pause or peace. This is enough to know, the phantasms of the heavens, earths, worlds, and changes changing the mighty whirling wheel of strife and stress which none can stay or stem. The quest for principle. Turning in despair from this contemplation, thinking men and women have sought for a fundamental principle of reality underlying, supporting, and sustaining the universe of finite, transitory, changing shapes, forms, activities, states, and conditions, that unconditioned and absolute ground for all that exists conditionally, which Plato asserted to be the real subject matter of the inquiry of philosophy. The wise have ever refused to accept the changing, impermanent, phenomenal universe as the ultimate verity, truth, and fact of reality. They have always insisted upon looking behind and under the world of manifestation for the essence which they believed must lie back of it, for the infinite essence underlying the finite, for the immutable essence underlying the ever-changing, for the eternal essence underlying the transitory. Gazing upon the universal manifestation of the law of change, the thoughtful ever have asked themselves and others the ultimate question: what is it that manifests change? What is it that is? What is it that is actually, verily, truthfully, and in fact reality? While the majority of the race has contented itself with creating deities, gods, demigods, godlings, and minor supernatural entities in endless variety, number, and name, the wise of the race, discarding these creations of the macron of imaginations of their brethren, and ignoring the interested dogma of the various priesthoods attending the shrine of the local deities, tribal gods, and supernatural personages, have ever sought for the principle of reality which abides, lives, and has its existence in the infinity of manifested forms, shapes, activities, and existences of the universe, and in which they so abide, live, and have their being. Like old Omar, they have sought ever for that abiding presence, that ultimate reality, whose secret presence, throughout creation's veins running quicksilver-like, eludes our pains, taking all shapes from Ma to Ma'an. They change and perish all, but he remains. They have perceived that reality cannot be merely the outward forms, shapes, activities, states, and conditions of manifested existence, for the finite character of these were soon discovered. The material panorama of the manifested universe was recognized as a phantasmagoria, and all beings participating in it as mere actors on the great stage of the cosmos. The wise have ever held that the manifested universe is akin to a cosmic dramatization of reality, that, as Omar says, we are no other than a moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go round with a sun-illumined lantern held in midnight by the master of the show. Noumenon and phenomenon. The philosophic mind of the race has ever distinguished between the mere outward appearance of the universal activities and the essence or real activity manifesting in and producing the outward appearance. The universe of outward forms, shapes, activities, states, and conditions is designated by the term phenomenal, which means visible, apprehended by observation, apparent, presented to the eye or senses. In its original Greek, the term phenomenon has a common origin with phantom, phantasm, etc. The original Greek root of all these meaning to appear to show. The phenomenal world is often called by philosophers the world of appearances, the term appearance being used as synonymous with phenomenon and being similar in meaning to apparition. In the majority of philosophies, the world of appearances or the phenomenal world indicates a universal phantasmagoria or universal apparition, a great cosmic picture show or a procession of phantasmal, apparitional shapes and forms subject to states and conditions. Opposed to the world of phenomenal appearance, the philosophers assert the existence of that which they call by various names, such as reality, verity, truth. Reality is conceived of as the ultimate essence, nature, substance, and very being of all that is. Philosophers sometimes employ the term noumenon to designate reality as we use the term the master of the show. Inquirers for reality, refusing to accept the phenomenal world as ultimate reality, truth, or fact, but recognizing the phantasmal nature of the moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go, have instituted a further inquiry. They have even denied ultimate reality to the sun-illumined lantern held in midnight, and have insisted that naught will suffice them other than the actual discovery of the master of the show himself, who holds the lantern. But they have not failed to realize the elusive nature of that which they seek. They know full well the truth that Omar uttered when he said that reality ever is but a moment guessed, then back behind the fold a mist of darkness round the drama rolled, which for the pastime of eternity he doth himself contrive, enact. Behold the report of reason. The best philosophical thought of the past and present has ever asserted the actual existence of an ultimate principle of reality, the essence, nature, substance, and reality of all that is. The wisest of the race have always maintained the actual existence of a certain something which abides, invariable and constant, as the essential principle of and in all things, all creatures, all entities, all beings, and which precedes and survives all the changes of form, shape, state, and condition of phenomenal appearance. The only escape from this conclusion is the assumption that each change of form, shape, state, or condition is a separate, independent, and original creation, that no changed thing has a direct or indirect substantial connection with that which immediately preceded it, or with that which immediately succeeds it. This idea is unthinkable and is not advanced by any philosophy worthy of the name or having the respect of thinking men. No matter what may be the theory of the philosopher or scientist, he will always admit that evolution is merely a series of changing events and not a series of separate things. Evolution is seen to be merely the change of the apparent form, shape, state, or condition of a certain something which is the essence, nature, substance, and principle of the entire series of changing and changed things. It is the silken thread upon which is strung the pearls of phenomenal existence. It is the unchanging something which supports and holds together the universe of changing things. It is the eternal background upon the surface of which appears the endless procession of changing forms, shapes, states, and conditions of the phenomenal universe, the moving picture show of the cosmos. Monism. Professor Pringle Patterson says, monism is, in strictness, a name applicable to any system of thought which sees in the universe the manifestation or working of a single principle. Such a unity may be said to be at once the tacit presupposition and the goal of all philosophic effort, and in so far as a philosophy fails to harmonize the apparently independent and even conflicting facts of experience, as aspects or elements within a larger whole, it must be held to fall short of the necessary ideal of thought. Dualism, in an ultimate metaphysical reference, is a confession of the failure of philosophy to achieve its proper task, and this is the justification of those who consistently use the word as a term of reproach. The report of intuition. In addition to the report of reason regarding the necessity of an ultimate principle of reality, the intuition of man has ever informed him of the existence and presence of an abiding, unchangeable something within a something which transcends all intellectual knowledge and reasoning processes, but which is perceived to be ever present at the very heart of one's being, the very soul of one's soul. Intuition informs man that he is resting upon a great sea of reality, that there is a something underneath and back of him which is the supporting reality of his being and life. So universal is this perception of intuition that the reason is bound to take it into consideration and to combine and correlate it with its own reports and judgments. Moreover, it remains for the reason to interpret and announce that which the intuition inevitably perceives. The conception of deity God as immanent in his creation, and indwelling in the hearts of men, is the vague but insistent report of intuition which perceives in the center of the nature and being of the individual the existence and presence of that something which is the essence, nature, substance, and very being of all that is, that which is called reality. As an advanced teacher has said, the being you have heard of as God exists metaphysically but as an idea of your mind, and really is an attempt on the part of your mind to grasp the nature of your own being, and it is the business and duty of every human entity to assume absolute identity with the idea of God. The idea of God is the best description in the universe, in its purity and in its perfection, of what you really are, thrown out, as it were, a thought picture upon the enterprise of the universe. The universal intuitive perception and conception of a God of some kind is the result of this inevitable report of intuition that there is reality in which we live and move and have our being, and which also lives and moves and has its being in ourselves.